Sony has finally started talking about their next-gen PlayStation console. They've released a lot of details, so let's go ahead and get into it. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me here once again for a PlayStation news update. Sony has finally released some of the first details for the PlayStation 5. The following information comes from GameSpot with the article PS5 First Details, Backwards Compatible, PSVR Support, and more. Sony has revealed some of the information about its highly anticipated next-generation PlayStation in an interview with Wired. Mark Cerny, who was the lead system architect for PlayStation 4 and is currently working on its successor, divulged details on its components that will power the next-generation system and teased some of the breakthroughs it's making. In the interview, Cerny didn't name the console, though conventional thinking states it will probably be PlayStation 5. The next-gen PlayStation is partially based on PS4 architecture, which means that it is backwards compatible. Now, this is a big deal for me. Backwards compatibility is something that I'm always in favor for. I feel that it'll make the systems not only sell better at launch, but it also helps for those of us that are game collectors and don't like game franchises that we own split across multiple systems. Cerny also revealed that it is not only an all-digital device and will accept physical discs. Wired's article describes the transition from PS4 to PS5 as indicated by Cerny as a gentle one, adding that numerous games will be released for both PS4 and next-generation console. Housed in the console will be an AMD chip that has a CPU based on a third-generation Ryzen. It'll have 8 cores of the 7nm Zen 2 microchip. Although the console will support 8K, displaying at this resolution will be dependent on the TVs catching up. The graphics, meanwhile, will be driven by a custom version of Radeon's Navi line. This graphics chip will support ray tracing, something which is starting to become popular in movies and video games. Although it's traditionally thought of as a lighting technique, Cerny says that there are implications beyond creating realistic environments. If you want to run tests to see if the player can hear certain audio sources or the enemies can hear the player's footsteps, ray tracing is useful for that, he explained. It's all the same thing as taking a ray through the environment. You'll have to pardon me as I stumble through reading some of this technical stuff. There's a lot of it that I don't understand. But back to the article. In fact, audio is one of the main improvements Cerny is keen to talk about. The AMD chip will enable 3D audio, and this, according to Cerny, is key to immersing players deeper. This naturally led to the discussions of PlayStation VR, and why Cerny didn't confirm whether the new version of Sony's headset will be released. The existing one will be supported. I won't go into the details of our VR strategy beyond saying that VR is very important to us, very VR, and that the current PSVR headset is compatible with the new console, he confirmed. Again, huge win. If they came out and said that the PSVR headset that works with PlayStation 4 was not compatible with PS5, that is a huge waste of a financial investment that a person has, because how many games would they have bought on PSVR for the PlayStation 4 and then potentially have sold the PlayStation 4 in an effort to have enough money or funds for the PlayStation 5? You lose out on all that money that you spent on the VR. Very good consumer move here. Another key leap the next PlayStation will make comes through its hard drive. According to Cerny, developers let Sony know what they want, solid-state drives, and the new hardware as opposed to the slower equivalents used in current consoles. These SSDs are relatively prevalent now in laptops, and what Sony is bringing to the next PlayStation is described as being specialized for the hardware. Cerny demonstrated that the change in SSD introduces to gaming compared to a load sequence from Insomniac's Spider-Man on a standard PS4 Pro and the dev kit of a next-gen PlayStation 5. On the former, it was around 15 seconds, while on the latter, it was 0.8 seconds. So basically what that means is that loading Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 Pro was 15 seconds, which is pretty good enough. It's not a very long time. But while it was on the PS5 dev kit, it was less than 1 second. It was 0.8 seconds. That is lightning fast. This, Cerny added, has implications on how the world can be rendered too, which in turn impacts how quickly Spidey can move through the world on the new hardware. The camera moves through the city much quicker, as the hardware is capable of keeping up with rendering requirements. And this is something else that I'm looking forward to immensely. Games on the PlayStation 4 will run better and perform better on the PS5. Now, this is something when it comes to Xbox One's backwards compatibility with Xbox 360 and on the Xbox One X, games were upscaled to 4K. For those of you that may or may not own an Xbox One, when they made some of the original Xbox games backwards compatible, such as Knights of the Old Republic, those games through an emulator on the console are upscaled to 4K and put on a 4K display. And while sure the graphics still are relevantly similar to what they looked like originally on the original Xbox, it looks much better than if you just plugged in an original Xbox One or an original Xbox, excuse me, into a 4K TV. It has all the enhancements, and from what it sounds like, PlayStation 4 games are going to run and look so much more better on PlayStation 5. This gives me pretty big expectations for games that kind of struggled on the PS4, like God of War and Spider-Man. Sometimes they struggled on the PS4 that I play on, and seeing them play on PS5 would be absolutely amazing. The article wraps up with saying that they don't know still what year the PlayStation 5 is going to launch, or the next generation PlayStation is going to launch. They do, however, go back to talking about a statement that John Codera said that in 2018 the next PlayStation was 3 years off. So if you look at that 2018, 2019, so you could be looking at a 2020 release for this. But what do you guys think about all this news for the next generation PlayStation or PlayStation 5? Are you guys excited about the backwards compatibility as I am? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you guys found any informative value in this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I upload content weekly. But until next time, everybody, thank you all for joining me, and I will see all of you in the next video.